How's it going, everybody? This is Nate House, and you're watching Craft House Media. Feel free to like or share this video and help get this message out to people that may need it. So today, let's dive into what imposter syndrome is, and then let's talk about some of the people that might be experiencing it. And then if you stick around for all that, we'll talk about ways that you can manage it or kind of explore these things. So to get started, imposter syndrome. This is something that anyone who is doing something new or difficult or challenging might experience. And what I mean by that is sometimes when we put ourselves into new roles or challenge ourselves to do difficult things, we can be given this feeling of, if they only find out, they'll know that I don't belong. They only find out, they'll know they'll have to get rid of me. And so we end up kind of balling up all of these feelings and holding them really tight and really down low so that nobody knows I don't think I'm as confident as I should be, or I don't really have maybe the skills that I should have already gotten to be here. And so when I started my PhD program, this was a huge thing for me. I felt like, they might not have known how average my grades are, or how average I think that I am as a student, or whatever. And I felt this way too when I worked for a hospital and I was on this clinical board, and I thought, oh man, do I really belong? Do I really have what it takes to be here? And so you kind of show up in these new roles, and it challenges your own identity of what you think you are. And so this is a place that imposter syndrome really can get the best of us. And it can cause us to not want to be there, not think that we can continue. Boy, wouldn't it be easier if I just dropped off or stepped away? And all of those things can really get in our way of doing the job that we're there to do. And so another different but similar aspect of imposter syndrome might be when you're in this leadership role and you're expected to have certain attributes or certain things because maybe you're promoting health. Maybe you're promoting good eating habits. Maybe you're promoting efficiency or whatever it is. And you're in this space where you're like, man, if I'm supposed to be telling everybody to do this and I'm falling down a little bit, maybe this isn't for me. Or, I don't know if I'm really good enough to be sharing with people ways to be better. And so all of that can really play into this insecurity, this lack of wanting to share with people what's really going on, and all of that. And so that's why we're diving into that today. Really, what do we understand about this? And so I kind of mentioned this happened to me when I was a student. It happened to me when I was in this leadership role, but it can also happen to other aspects of our lives that maybe we're not even thinking about. So I have a friend who is an amazing artist. They're doing such talented things. They expressed to me, though, that they didn't think they were an artist. They didn't think that they were someone that could really be that good. And what I mean by that is even though they've had to prove to themselves over and over again that they were able to do good art, whatever good is, they had this belief that they weren't good enough. And so I asked, where do you think that came from? And they said, well, when I was a child, I did this particular picture and I thought it was really pretty good. And I showed it to my parents and they just made an offhanded comment of, well, you don't have to be an artist, so or, oh, that's for amateurs. That's pretty good for an amateur, or pretty good for a kid. And they didn't do it maliciously, but they just ruined their confidence that they could do art or that they could be an artist. And so this can happen in any kind of performance kind of way. Even if you're a musician or a performer or interested in the arts in some other fashion, we get this internal labeling that somehow we're not good enough and we're never gonna be good enough. And so that can happen where we have someone that tells us something we trust. Someone we trust tells us that thing. So we've talked about the student, the leaders, the artists, the musicians. I'm sure there's many other roles that we can play where we feel like we're an imposter in our own lives. And so the next piece of that is, what do we do about it? If we have these feelings, what do we do about it? And so the first thing I wanted to say is expressing how you're feeling, expressing that vulnerability is maybe the first tool in allowing yourself to even have that conversation with yourself, have that conversation with others, that you're feeling these things and it's really challenging. The next piece of that is though, who are you sharing this with? And I mean that in the best of ways. If you're sharing information with people who are not your support system, and what I mean by that is people that will build you up rather than the people that could potentially just tear it down for you a little bit further. You don't want to say something like, oh, I don't know if I'm a good enough student to be in my program. And they're like, yeah, we don't know if you're a good enough student either. That's not the right people to tell these things to. So you need to really think about like, okay, I've got these thoughts and feelings, I've got these insecurities, share them with the right people. Share them with the people that tell you, no, I think you're just overreacting, or no, I think you're kind of misinterpreting your situation, or I'm sure that if you get a few more weeks under your belt, you'll start to feel like you belong and you're at home in your role. So the other thing is challenging those internal beliefs. At the end of the day, the only person that's going to cure you of imposter syndrome is yourself. If you always have these internal scripts that maybe mom and dad helped write for you, grandparents helped write for you, those primary care teachers helped write for you, whoever it was, you wrote a script as this is how I am and this is what I am. And so if you can recognize that there's something about myself, I told myself I wasn't good enough for some reason, and now I'm challenging that belief by pushing my education forward, becoming this new leadership role, whatever it is, you have to be the one that challenges your own beliefs. You have to be the one that rewrites that story of who you are. And so by doing that, that's pretty frightening, because that can change everything, right? It can make you really think like, wow, who am I going to be if I rewrite the story of who I am? And so this can be part of imposter syndrome, that you don't feel like you deserve to be the leader, the artist, the student, whatever it is. So you have to challenge that belief. The last piece of advice that I could possibly give about this, whatever perspective you're going at this at, if you have some great challenge in your life and you want to be of service, and you're feeling like, okay, it's not that I'm coming after it from a place of greatness, I have this humble posture of learning, that you connect with the purpose. Why am I challenging myself so hard to do this work, to do this service? And so reconnecting with our purpose can kind of give us that strength, that take a breath, allow, other forces that are supporting us to help move the work forward. And so that's the last piece of advice. So we've gotten 4 things: express your vulnerability, express them to the right people, connect with your purpose, but also challenge those internal beliefs. Those 4 things. Those 4 things I think will really help you manage imposter syndrome and hopefully get you on the right track to achieving the goals that you've set for yourself. So if you want to help someone out, share this video, hit like or subscribe. It encourages me to keep doing these things. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, but I also love it when I can see on these videos that it's helpful or that it's reached somebody's heart. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.